Good morning. Welcome to our Veterans Day celebration. We are honored to have among us today some very important veterans and military personnel from our Mountain View community. We have a former student, a teacher, and some of our parents. By serving in one of the 6 branches of the military, these active duty service members and veterans have worked hard to protect not only our freedoms as Americans, but also to secure peace around the world. Can those in attendance from the military please stand so that we might recognize you? Way back in 1918, 104 years ago on Friday, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, a truce was declared that ended World War I in Europe, which was then known as the War to End All Wars. The last countries fighting in the war signed an agreement called an armistice, which is from the Latin words arma, meaning arms or weapons, and sistere, meaning stand still. The stillness and quiet that came from both sides of the war, laying down their weapons, must have been astounding. So from that day until 1954, November 11th was known as Armistice Day. It was made an official federal peace holiday in 1938 by President Roosevelt and the United States Congress. Unfortunately, the armistice signed at the end of World War I was not the end of all wars. In 1954, after many more wars, including World War II, President Eisenhower renamed November 11th Veterans Day in order to honor all the veterans from all the wars. This morning, you will hear some interesting facts about Veterans Day from 2 of our students. You will hear some poetry written by students who have military parents. You will hear some patriotic music from our amazing chorus, and you will hear some special stories from 2 remarkable veterans. Please give your full attention and respect to our program today. The more we can learn and understand about Veterans Day, the more we can appreciate every freedom that we have. Looking for Charlie.
Will everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
like to invite forward Campbell Schulze and Elise.
Hello. Hi, I'm Elise. And I'm Campbell.
What are you here to talk about, guys?
We're here to talk about why Veterans Day is important.
So we started things off with a video asking some students why, how should we honor this day, and what is Veterans Day? We celebrate Veterans Day.
Oh my God, this is I celebrate Veterans Day by calling my naughty and thanking them for serving the military.
Oh, what's Veterans Day?
Veterans Day is a day where you celebrate the United States of America.
Hey, I'm Ricky. How do you celebrate Veterans Day?
I make cards for the veterans that haven't been. I learn my veterans house because my husband served in the military.
What is Veterans Day?
Veterans Day is when we celebrate the people who served in the military and the army, who have sacrificed their lives.
Hey, I'm Ricky. What is Veterans Day?
A day that we celebrate the people that have been protecting our country. A day that the military risked their lives to protect our country.
Hey, Regan, what's Veterans Day?
Veterans Day is a day to honor those who have served in the military and fought for our country.
So thank you to everyone who participated in the video. And we also have Elise and Campbell who share a few
How do you
words.
celebrate Veterans Day?
So,
Oh, as much as we love that video. There we go. Oh, sorry, friends. Oh, it skipped a few slides. Okay. All right. So before you get to the interesting facts, guys, we did talk about what Veterans Day is, right? And how it's different from Memorial Day, which is
remembering the people who died during while they were serving.
yeah, and Veterans Day is.
Remembering Veterans Day is for thanking everyone who served.
Yes, everyone who is currently serving and who has served. So, we also have friends compiled together some interesting facts about Veterans Day that some people might not know. So, why don't we start with, I think, Campbell, did you start with this one?
Canada and Australia both honor November 11th as Remembrance Day for their veterans. Great Britain also observes it, but on the Sunday closest to November 11th that year.
That's okay.
Veterans Day is different from Memorial Day. Memorial Day is when we honor those who lost their lives while serving in the military. In 2017, the highest percentage of veterans lived in Alaska, Maine, and Montana.
All right, Elise, that's you.
The age limit is 17 to enlist in the military, and you can serve in a range of 27 to 29 years, depending on what branch you are. According to the 2021 census, 16.5 million people were veterans. And in 2021, the number of female veterans is 1.7 million. Soldiers will do many things to help improve traditions. An official wreath-laying ceremony is held at each Veterans Day at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington National Cemetery, while parades and other celebrations are held in the states around the country. Reaching out to loved ones and thanking them for their service shows a lot of love and care. Community service and donations through veteran-centered organizations and businesses. Creating a care package for the soldiers, clothing and toiletry donations, and joining your community to place flags on veterans' graves in your local cemetery to pay your respects are all good ideas to honor veterans. Thank you for your service, veterans. Everyone, remember to do your part to help honor those who served our country. Thank you.
I would like to invite Aubrey Gillis West and Eliza Costura to read some poetry.
Thank you for your sacrifices. You're not their brave and strong. Though it might have taken long, you're doing something that makes us proud. On Veterans Day, we will cheer out loud. You may not forget us every day, but we will stand and always say, thank you, veterans, for your hard work. You helped us survive this difficult war. Now we can run and play, and don't worry, we will always say, thank you, veterans, all around. This is honorable, and we are proud. Veterans Day poem by Elizabeth Costura. So much depends upon our freedom that sets us free. So then we can be whatever we want to be. We have to be brave, we have to be bold, we have to be as strong as gold. And we want to say thank you to the ones who served and give you the love that you deserve. You risked your life and fought for our rights. We honor you with all our might. And we say thank you so very much. You have everything, even the touch. We are so proud of your dedication, and even though I'm nervous, we want to say thank you for your service.
I'd like to invite our soldiers to come down at this time. For a bear.
I would like to invite forward Mrs. Jessica Donai.
Good morning, and welcome to the Mountain View Veterans Day Assembly. My name is Mrs. Donay, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and why Veterans Day is important to me. My grandfather served in the United States Army and spent time serving in Guatemala. I followed in his footsteps and entered the United States Coast Guard right after I graduated high school in 1998. After I completed basic training, I was stationed on a base on Fire Island, New York. While I was there, I learned a wide variety of skills. My favorite part was being able to drive the Coast Guard boats in the ocean. When my enlistment was up and I had served my time in the Coast Guard, I knew I still wanted to be part of the military by giving back somehow. So I found a local organization called the Massachusetts Military Support Foundation, which helps active and retired military families with food, supplies, and everyday needs. My children and I volunteered together this past summer, alongside some amazing volunteers. Many of the volunteers are veterans themselves, representing each branch of the United States military. Veterans Day is important to me because it allows us to honor the people that have sacrificed their lives for our country, and to also give thanks to the men and women who serve in the military right now to protect our country. Without their past and current service, we would not have the freedoms that we have today. So I now have the privilege of introducing Miss Ashley Pelzick Ferguson. She is a 2002 graduate of East Long Meadow High School, where she was a three-sport athlete. Upon graduating, she earned an appointment in the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. She graduated with merit and captained the basketball team her senior year. In May of 2006, she was commissioned as an officer in the United States Navy and reported to flight school in Pensacola, Florida, to begin flight training as a naval flight officer. After receiving her wings of gold in 2008, she began her career as an F/A-18F weapons systems officer at the Naval Air Station Oceana in Virginia Beach, Virginia. She served for 11 years and deployed in 2011 and 2017 aboard the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush in support of Operations Enduring Freedom, Afghanistan, New Dawn, Iraq, and Inherent Resolve, Syria and Iraq. She graduated from the U.S. Navy's Strike Fighter Weapons School, better known as Top Gun, in 2012 and spent 5 years as a Strike Fighter Tactics instructor before separating in 2017. She received her MBA from the MIT Sloan School of Management in 2019, and she is currently the VP Business Operations at Merlin Labs, a frontier tech startup focused on autonomous aviation technology. She lives in the north end of Boston with her husband, Charlie, and their puppy, Ember. So I'd now like to welcome you to come on up and speak.
Thank you for that super nice introduction. Funny to think about, but about 30 years ago or so, I was sitting where you all are. Now I see some familiar faces in the crowd, some of my friends' kids, my niece, and some other friendly folks who are here as teachers. It's a really cool opportunity to be back here today, and the thing I want to focus on a little bit is just how much we've changed our perception of veterans. Growing up when I did, it's been a long time since we've really seen a lot of conflict. You know, there were things going on around the world, but World War II was, it was a long time in the rear view. The Vietnam War was something that affected our parents' generation. But up until we were seniors in high school, in my generation, we hadn't really seen much conflict. So when 9/11 happened, it changed the way that we viewed the world. And that was really the first opportunity that a lot of our folks had to be called to service. Now you've all heard why service what it means to a lot of people here. It sounds like a lot of folks have parents, family members, and others who they know that have served, grandparents. But for me, it was really a bigger calling. It was a mission-driven purpose. When that attack happened on our country, it hit really close to home. And so for me, it was an opportunity to go and serve our country and give back and help protect my family in ways that my previous generations had. So I know a lot of people think about service as, a really big sacrifice, and it is. A lot of people spend a long time away from their families, away from their friends. But it's more than that. It's about seeing the world. It's about being provided with opportunity, and I think that's the way I've always viewed the military. It was something that gave me the chance to serve a higher calling, but it was also a way to achieve a lot of things in life that you can't really do on your own. I was talking to Jessica right at the beginning of this, and we were talking a little bit about the military, and I think the one thing we said that we really took away from it at first was it becomes about something that's bigger than just yourself. So a lot of things we focus on, or a lot of things early on, or maybe individual focus, whether that's how you prepare for things in your day-to-day life. Have you done your homework? Have you taken out the trash and done your chores? And those are all really important things. But once you join a team like the military, it's very similar to what you all are learning on the athletic fields if you're athletes. So it's how to put someone else above yourself and as part of your team. And so for me, that was one of the really, really important things that service taught me. And staying focused on the opportunity piece. For a lot of veterans, it's a calling, but it's also a way for us to be able to go out there and explore what's in the world. So whether you join and become an officer and use it as a way to get through school, or whether you join and you go out there and you serve in the lower ranks of the military, there's just so many opportunities out there. And that's the other piece I want to talk about. I think a lot of people see the really cool videos on TV, and they see the jets flying fast, and they see the tanks rolling in there. But the other piece of it, I think for a lot of folks, is the opportunity to go out there and be a lawyer, be a doctor, do all the really cool things that you can do in the real world, but serve while you do so. And so one of the messages I wanted to share today was that there's so many big things out there to learn about when it comes to serving in the military that you might not know just by watching the commercials or seeing the movies that are out there. And I will talk a little bit about what I did in the service, because how many of you out there, she mentioned Top Gun, who here has seen or heard of the second Top Gun movie? Awesome. If I had asked that question 10, even 5 years ago in this room, if anyone had heard of Top Gun, no hands would have been risen. Maybe a couple of you, because your parents are really cool. When I was young, and when I was about your age, the first movie had come out, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then I forgot about that for about 15 years or so. But when I joined the Naval Academy, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do there, I spent one summer, I was aboard an aircraft carrier, and I got to fly in the back of a jet. And I said, I can't think of anything that's much cooler than this, at least for the next 8 to 10 years of my life. And so I did it. And so flying was, again, just such a cool opportunity, not only because of the job at hand, but because it introduced me to some of the best friends I've ever made in my life, brought me to some of the coolest places in my life. I've been pretty much all over the world on an aircraft carrier and aboard land. And it also just taught me a lot of the most really important lessons in life. And like I said, sacrifice, leadership, and how to put mission above all else. So I want to thank you all for your time this morning. This is a really, really, really great thing that you guys are all doing. Again, when I was growing up, we knew who veterans were, we had some understanding of it, but I think I can speak for a lot of the veterans here in the crowd. And you can hear me, it's a little bit in my voice. I'm really, really touched by you guys today. So I just want to thank you all for what you're doing today, for honoring veterans. It's not easy for every veteran out there, but having folks like you around and people that are supporting us just makes everything a little bit easier. So thank you all so much.
Considerably shorter than our speakers. I would like to invite Brady Hensinger and Grace Brooks to come up. And they're going to present with our military personnel, including our veterans, with cards, go over to the basket, that have been made by students at Mountain View School. They are unique, they are one of a kind, each and every one of them, and they convey some very loving and special messages from the students of Mountain View School. So if you are wearing a pin with an American flag, which you should have received when you came in the door, you will receive some cards from our students.
In just a moment, we will have an opportunity to view photos of veterans that are near and dear to the hearts of our Mountain View students and staff. And I would like to invite you that are visiting, that if you're able to, please stand when you hear the anthem from your military branch.
I'd like to thank everyone for attending and participating in our Veterans Day celebration. We can't thank our military members enough for serving our country and keeping us safe and free. Today has even been more meaningful because we are lucky to have veterans and active duty personnel here to show our appreciation to and thank in person. Thank you, parents and family members, for coming today. And thank you to our speakers, Ashley Ferguson and Jessica Donay, for inspiring us with your words and actions. None of this would have been happening today without the hard work of Ms. Campbell, Mrs. Shea, the rest of the Veterans Day Committee, all of our Mountain View Spirit Squad members, and Ms. Haran and the Mountain View Chorus, who were awesome. I truly appreciate all that you did to make this assembly so special. Thank you to LCAT for being here to record our assembly and share it with the East Long Meadow community. And just one other note, I just want to thank our students very much for paying attention and being respectful. This is some people in here have never been to an assembly before. So I'm very thankful for the way you acted and behaved today. And thank you everyone for coming.